But I don't want you to. It makes me feel better, returned Dilys after a moment's consideration of his argument. It doesn't make me feel better. I've got a big bruise on my arm from where you clouted me yesterday. Don't you like me? At this question, Dilys began to cry quietly, tears rolling down her face. So he put his arm around her consolingly, because he understood. It had always been too much for Dilys, and she couldn't cope. She hadn't coped with the shouting of the terrifying men and the blood running down their mother's face. She hadn't coped with their mother slumped on the sofa in a drugged stupor, unable to respond to anything they said. She couldn't cope now, with Auntie Nina's rules, all the home-cooked meals Auntie Nina said were good for them. They had to eat everything, even though they'd never seen a Brussels sprout or a parsnip before. They had managed all their short lives until they came here on takeaways and microwaved pizza. Dilys snuffled into his T-shirt for a moment or two until the tears stopped. Then she kicked his shin. "Walk over there," ordered Josh as he hobbled a few feet away to one side. "Where are we going?" asked Dilys, quite calmly. It was like that. The anger had been released from where it had been bottled up inside her, and now she was fine. Until the next time. "Auntie Nina says we have to go for a walk," said Josh. "But it's already nearly 5 o'clock, and we have to be back by 6, so we can't go far. Where would you like to go?" "To the spinney," said Dilys. The spinney was a patch of woodland behind the row of council houses. Auntie Nina lived in the first house, but although she could see the spinney from her kitchen window, she couldn't see into it, because it lay at the bottom of a downward slope. Thus, if they went there, they'd be out of range of her interference. "All right," Josh agreed. Dilys smiled and began to sing a carol, Good King Wenceslas, which they'd learned at school months before at Christmas. She liked the story it told, and didn't worry that it wasn't the right time of year for it. All the local children went to the spinney, not just Josh and Dilys. The kids clambered up into the low branches, or made camps in the bushes, and picked blackberries when they were in season. They seldom let Josh or Dilys into their camps, so Josh and his sister made their own camps in a different spot. But Josh was a first-rate climber, so if someone's hat was thrown up into the branches, or a ball, and lodged there, Josh would be called in to shin up and retrieve it. That would mean a temporary truce, during which they were let into the other camps. The moment was fragile and soon broken, because inevitably Dilys flew into one of her rages. Josh and Dilys clambered over the stone wall around a field, walked across it to the far side, then scrambled down into a ditch where Dilys got stung by nettles, resulting in a rash of white spots that burned like anything. That meant 10 minutes hunting for dock leaves to rub on the reddened flesh to soothe it. It put Dilys back into a bad temper. When they finally made it into the spinney, it was deserted. Josh was pleased they had it to themselves and didn't need to negotiate a play area with other kids. Dilys found a fallen branch and began to thrash the bushes with it and strike it against the trees. It was only a matter of time before she swung it at him, Josh reckoned. So he walked ahead of her and turned off the path into the tangle of undergrowth, because it would take all Dilys's attention to negotiate a route, and that would absorb her energies, with any luck. He could hear her behind him, slashing wildly with the branch to clear her way. He'd been wrong in thinking they were alone in the spinney, because they weren't. Ahead of him, through the vegetation, he could see a patch of white, and another of blue. He guessed someone had thrown rubbish away there. But when he got a little nearer, he could see there was someone lying on the ground, apparently sleeping. The person was half smothered with leaves and twigs, in some places more thickly than in others. It was as if someone had tried to cover up the sleeper, but hadn't finished the job. The lower part of a leg in blue jeans and a foot in a white trainer hadn't been covered at all. Josh hesitated and then moved nearer. At the opposite end to the white trainer, a pale face peered through the leaves, tilted up as if to see who approached. The face belonged to a woman.